Hello and welcome to Qt Pixel. Today I'm continuing my software development stream, focusing on open source software development and my Twitch Craps Table chatbot. I have on stream my upcoming schedule. Today is what I just described, the Twitch Craps Table chatbot. My next stream will be on Sunday, March 31st, 9 a.m. That is 1 week from today. Do apologize for the lengthy delay between streams. My schedule is just a little crazy right now to commit to more than that. But today I am here streaming, so let's get into it. Let's start looking at my notes for my Twitch Craps Table chatbot. For those of you who were around while the stream was getting set up, you can see that I have been playing with that in chat. The chatbot is not complete, but it is at a working state, so you're welcome to play with that in chat whenever that is running. Now let's go look at my notes. So last stream I did a lot of work on the lay bet. It took me quite a while. Well, actually, one of the things I noticed is I realized that my logic for computing the commission on the buy and the lay bet was not quite correct. And so I spent a great deal of effort last week working out the math to come up with the correct commission for the buy and then subsequently the lay bet. So last week was actually a pretty lengthy stream, even though I didn't get a lot of visible work done. But I have some potential issues to look at. You consider paying commission on buy lay bets only on win. I've been thinking about that a little bit, and I think that will actually make my life a little bit easier. I want to say, charge commission for buy and lay bets only on a win. I think that's what I want to do next. I think I have a way to make that work. I'm not 100% certain because I haven't studied enough other Craps implementations, but I think I know how this will work at this point. I'm going to do a guess. If I'm wrong, let me know, and I'll continue to research. And if I am wrong, I'll fix it in the future. Let's see. I also had another note here. To place, to lose, and lay bets stick around after they win. And I think part of the reason to charge the commission for the buy and lay bets only on a win is then this doesn't matter. If the player wishes to have those bets stick around, then there's no issue. The commission is only charged on a win. And so my thought was to basically have those bets get removed, and then the player can choose to make it again. Whether they make it again or not, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to remove that. I also have keep bets in place after they've won. I have place bets in place to lose. And I think for these I'm just going to not keep those bets in place at all. In fact, before I remove those, I already keep a couple bets in place on a win. Let's go look at the code real fast. Just want to make sure I've got my notes up to date here. We've got all of our bet handling logic, and we have a variable that says whether or not to keep the bet around. I'm trying to see if I could figure out where that is. Available balance. Yeah, so we've bet 1. Light odds 1, place 1. Process bets. And we have this flag for clear bets. So let's go look at who calls process bets and just see whoever sets that to false. Basically, normally you clear the bets when you win or lose. There's a couple of places where I do not. So we can just look through and see where I set this to false, and that'll indicate to those areas where we do not clear the bets on a win or a loss. And I think there's going to be a couple spots where that's true. Alright, so here we have the lay bets. If you 7 out and you have any lay bets, you win, and we keep those bets around. I think the thought there was that you've paid the commission, and we don't want you to pay the commission a second time. Since we're going to eliminate, since we're only going to pay the commission on a win, this no longer matters. So I'm going to add a note here to remove bets, so remove lay, I bet it's buy bets as well, so we'll say remove buy and lay bets on a win, since the commission is only paid on a win. There is no benefit to keeping the bet around. Previously I kept those because I only wanted the player to pay the commission once. Since I'm changing the commission structure, there's really no reason to keep those bets around. Let's continue looking, make sure I haven't missed any other areas where I process bets with the remove bets or clear bet set to false. So true, true, true. Here's another one. This is for buy bets, and I already marked those. I assumed buy bets were also included, and that is true. And let's continue looking on here. So we have more normal bets. Pass bets and don't pass bets. All those get cleared up. Yeah, so it looks like it is only the buy and lay bets. And I was gonna, I'll get rid of this here. Keep bets in place once they've won. We're gonna remove that. We can always consider that in the future. But my thought for now is it's really easy to just place the bet a second time. So if a player wins and they want to place it again, they can always just place it again. Otherwise, we'll just remove it. At some point, we may consider keeping some bets around after they win. I know in casinos I've seen like place bets are definitely on that list. Probably buy bets. Probably not lay bets. And place to lose. Because place to lose and lay bets, you win when you hit a 7. And the most casinos like to clear out the entire craps table. So on a lay or a place to lose, we don't want to keep those around. But place and buy, we could consider doing that. And I think I would only do this after we implement this logic to allow players to change existing bets. Because part of the issue with keeping the bets around, our current logic doesn't let you change the bet. And so on many craps tables, or many players on a craps table, when they win a place bet, will want to push that bet or press that bet to increase it. Right now we don't have that logic, and so we want to allow players to increase their bets by betting more, decrease by betting less, remove by betting 0. And I think once we have this logic, then we can do this. We can keep some bets around after they win. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add this note here and say keep bets around after they win. So keep place and buy bets around after they win. I think that'll be a good logic there. And let's just continue down my list here. So we're going to change the commission structure for buy and lay bets. We're going to change the logic so that we remove buy and lay bets on a win. We have additional craps bets to implement. The field is next on the list. This pays even money if you roll a 3, 4, 9, 10, or 11. It pays double if you roll a 2 and triple if you roll a 12. Then we have hard ways. If you roll a hard 6 or 8, that pays 9 to 1 if you roll a hard 4 or 10, that pays 7 to 1. We have proposition bets. Any craps, that'll pay 7.5 to 1. Any 7, which is a pretty crappy bet, will pay 4 to 1. All of the hard hot bets will pay 33 to 1. All of the easy hot bets will pay 16 to 1. Then we have kind of these more complicated multi-roll series bets here. The fire bet, the bottom, top, all points. And then finally we have big 6-8. I put that last because it's just a crappy bet. It's paid even money, but it's similar to placing the 6 and 8, and placing the 6 and 8 actually pays better. So if you want to play the big 6-8, you're much better just placing on the 6 or 8 instead. That bet's so bad I may not implement it, but we'll see. Another kind of bad bet is the any 7. It pays 4 to 1, and which is pretty common for craps tables, but a better bet would be to play the appropriate hard hop bets. The 3 different ways. There's the 1-6, the 2-5, and the 3-4. Those are 3 different bets to cover any possible 7, and the payout will be significantly better than the 4 to 1 by splitting your any 7 bets into 3 independent bets. But some people like any 7, and some people don't know any better, so that's something I'm most likely going to implement. Big 6-8, I think most craps players understand that is a bad bet, and so that probably won't see much use. But it's also simple to implement, so we'll probably do it. So moving on, we have kind of more logic that I'm looking at here. This here is to add incremental balance adjustment. What this is to try to support leaderboards. So right now, right now we have a minimum balance that the server or that the chatbot maintains. If you lose all of your money, the next time you have a 7 out, your balance is automatically adjusted to that minimum amount, which right now is configured to be 100 units. Okay, so if you're trying to get to a leaderboard position, you might bet all your money on a bet that pays a lot, but is hard to hit, like maybe one of these hot bets. You bet on the hard hot bet. If you hit it, you get paid 3,300, and now you have a large amount of money to play with. But if you lose, you just get your $100 back, and you just do it again, and you keep doing it until you hit it. With the incremental balance adjustment, you can do that once, and then it's going to take a while for your balance to be reset. I'm not sure exactly how that'll work, probably like 1 unit per minute or something, so it might take like a couple of hours, or see, 100, that'd be what, 1 hour and 40 minutes to restore a balance of 100 units. So something to just kind of make it less appetizing to bet your full amount all at once. Then there's the leaderboard. A pretty simple thing, just want to have something to display who the current top players are. This will probably not go into chat because I don't want chat to be spammed with it. This will probably for now just send it out in my console window. Then allow players to change existing bets. We've talked about this a little bit. This is just so that players can increase their bets, decrease their bets, remove bets. Some bets cannot be increased, and some bets cannot be decreased or removed. And once we have that logic in place, now we can keep, place, and buy bets around after they win. Then we have allow players to serve as the bank. This is because right now the bot itself serves as the bank. There's an infinite source of money it uses to pay out bets, and there's a black hole where money goes whenever it is lost. And so the thought here is that a single player will serve as the bank and will pay out wins and will absorb, and you'll pay them when you lose. So that way money just doesn't appear out of nowhere, and this will kind of provide a natural limitation for how much you can bet on a particular roll. There's a bunch of thought to go into that, so that's why that's towards the end. We'll see if we actually get there. And finally, we have added ability to turn bets on and off. Not sure how I want that to look like. with the ability to remove bets. With this here, the ability to turn bets on and off isn't really all that valuable, but there is the way to, most casinos will have automatic bets on and off in certain circumstances. Like most often, your come odds will not be working on a come out roll. And so if you wish those bets to be working, you would want to issue a directive, and if you're in a real casino, you'd tell the dealers, hey, I'm on, my come odds are working. For the bot, you'd want a command to turn those on and off. And so probably we can do this. Once we have the ability to turn bets on and off, then we can consider automatically turning bets on and off the same way a casino would. And the final issue I have on my list that I'm not sure what to do with yet is excess arguments to a command are silently ignored. And so like the bet command is pretty complex. We have we have craps to indicate we're going to the crap spot. We have bet to indicate we're making a bet. We have the type of the bet. You have place bet. The place bet requires a number. So let's say we want to place a bet on the 4. So the final parameter is the amount. You say I want to place a $20 bet on the 4. Well, someone could type in some garbage after the amount, and that is silently ignored. And so there's just a question of, what do I want to do about, oops, this editor doesn't work like that. What do I want to do about this garbage at the end? Right now it's silently ignored, and I can't think of a good reason to not do that. But it could imply that somebody meant to do, a bet of 200, but they accidentally had a space in there or something, and so I don't know, just have to think of what to do about that, and see if there's kind of a general approach I could take to handling stuff like that. Alright, so I've gone through kind of the to-do list for what I want to get done. I'm not going to get all this done today. I'm just going to go through as much of the to-do list as I can, and we'll see how far we get. I think the first on my list I wanted to do is charge a commission for buy and lay bets only on a win. So let's go look at the code for this and start talking through what that's going to look like. We have these commission functions to determine exactly how much of a commission to charge when you play these bets or place these bets. We have a buy commission and a lay commission. The buy commission charges 5% based on the amount you bet, and the lay commission charges 5% based on the amount you would win if you were to win that bet. And let's go see how these are used. We have a handle bet function that gets called to handle all this bet stuff. I think this is it here. And so we have kind of two functions we pass in. We have a check function and a commission function. And since we only want to charge a commission on a win, we don't want to charge it when the bet is placed any longer. So we're going to go through and remove all the commission functionality here. In fact, we could probably go through and remove that now. So let's just start with this function here. Let's remove commission function as a parameter. Let's go see who calls handle bet and just start clearing things out here. Yeah, so we have this undefined that is for the commission function. Just get rid of that. So let's go through every place where it's called. Oh, this might allow me to get rid of some line wrapping here. That might be nice. Alright, just removing. It looks like I don't actually pass in a commission function except for this couple of places where it's needed. And even on handle odds bet, we still pass in undefined. handle number bet. Alright, so this is one where we take a commission function and pass it in. So I'm going to pass on this just for the moment. Well, now I can deal with it now. Let's cross this out. If commission function is undefined, we do some binding, and we don't need this. And we don't need the commission function there. So that makes this much simpler here. And here's handle bet. And now let's go clear out this logic. Yeah, so here we have final amount is equal to amount. If we have commission function defined, then we set final amount is equal to the amount minus commission. Well, we're going to just drop that. Drop this whole block of logic. We'll say we've made the bet in the amount, and then we'll make the bet in the amount. So that just simplifies that quite a bit. See, finally we have to look up who uses call or handle number function, handle number bet. Because I think there's going to be a couple of spots where this is called. We have replace bets, we have no commission, so I'll drop the commission there. For don't place, or place to lose, we have no commission. And for buy, we do have a commission, but we're going to charge that on a win rather than when the bet is placed. So we're still going to drop this and just figure out where we put that in its place. And same with lay bets. And I think those are the only places where that is used. Alright, so we've removed all of the logic for charging the commission when a bet is placed. We still have these two functions down here. I'm going to keep them for the moment because the math is going to be useful. I'm going to move these functions to a more appropriate spot. But until I know where that is, I'm going to keep them here for now. Might be handy just to test to make sure that, that the commission is no longer being charged. So I'm going to just run through a quick smoke test, make sure that I haven't broken anything, and see if the commission is not charged when I make these bets. And so we have our buy bet. So let's just do a craps bet buy on the, say, 5 for 20. Bet made for 20, so no commission was charged there. Then there's the lay bet. Let's say craps bet lay on the 4 for also 20. And there's no commission there either. So that's working great. We can let that run for a bit and see if they're paid out properly. They should be. But the commission is no longer being charged, so that much is working. Up next is to consider how to charge the commission when these bets win. So let's go look up how these bets are paid out. We have a whole section of code where bets are paid. Yeah, so we have process number bet. So here we have lay bets. So this uses a function dark odds 1. Dark odds is meaning that you've placed a bet that is like an odds bet, and dark indicates that it's on the quote-unquote dark side. You know, the don't hit this bet approach. You know, the don't pass versus pass. And so we'll need to rethink this. We'll probably need to build in a lay 1 function or something. And here we have the same thing, or very similar for buy bets. We call light odds 1 because this is on the light side. This is similar to the pass or the come bet winning. And so we need to just add a buy 1 and a lay 1 in order to add in the commission calculation. So let's go ahead and look at our bet winning functions here. Process come bets. We have process come bet number. process bets. Yeah, so here we have kind of the specific bet functions here. We have light odds 1, dark odds 1, place 1, don't place 1. And so we could probably do like a buy 1 or a lay 1 here. So let's go ahead and look at this. Yeah, let's start with the buy 1. And yes, I think we're going to need this binding stuff here. We're going to need Crab's table and number, because we need that to compute the odds multiplier. So let's just grab one of these. It doesn't really matter. You must bind an object to this function as follows. Crab's table and number, the number for the bet, fine. And we'll say buy 1. And let's just grab this. It's going to be different than this, but we'll start with this. And let's grab over, we're on line 314, let's grab over the logic for computing the commission. Alright, so we want the commission to be basically equal to this. In this case, rather than amount, it's going to be bet. So let's say var commission is equal to the amount bet minus 20 times the bet over 21. We could say var amount 1 is equal to it's going to be this. Then we can return amount 1 minus commission. And I think that'll work. So let's go look up, well, first let's change the function that calls this, or that needs to call this. And then once we have this, once we think we have this working, let's call it and test it, and we'll see what it does. So this is for the buy bets. This would be the process number bets. We have buy bets and loss. We want buy bets 1. Yeah, so we want to do, I think it's just buy 1. And everything else is the same. We're still passing the Crab's table and the number. And we'll see what this does. Let's see, it looks like I've lost all of my bets, and although the dice should still be rolling here, I'll stop it though, it doesn't really matter. We're just testing. So now I want to test to see if the buy bet works correctly. So let's just Well, let's start with the 4 and work our way up. So say craps by... Actually, let's just buy all of them at this point. So let's say craps bet buy the 4 for... with 10 on all of these. Then the 5, 6, 8, 9. So I've placed buy bets on all of the numbers, and now we're just going to run through them and make sure that the payouts are correct. So we'll say craps. Let's hit the 4 first. So craps roll 2-2 for the 4. One 1952. Huh. Right, the math is off because the math is complicated. So this math that I have here is based on the fact that we want to charge commission on the amount that's going to remain rather than the full amount, and that's partially why this math was so hard, was to work out how to make that happen. We, however, only want to charge the commission based on the actual bet amount this time, so that'll make this a lot simpler. Let's take a look here. So we want, but it's probably 19 over 20 would be my guess. So let's try that. 19 over 20. Let's give that a try and see what that does here. And to make this easier, I'm going to do $20 bets, because then the commission should always be $1. So we'll say craps bet buy on the 4 for $20. Now let's do 5, 6. Let's test the 7 here, make sure that that still works. Excellent. 8. And the 9. And the 10. Alright, so now we've bought all of the numbers. Now let's roll a 4. Excellent, we won 39. So the actual winning amount was 40, which is correct. And then our commission was 39. Or sorry, commission was $1. So the amount we got paid, or the amount we won in total, was 39. So that's good. So let's say craps roll 2, 3. In this case, we should get paid, I think, 30. So the final result should be 29. Yes. And then next up, we should get paid 24, I think. So the final result should be 23. I'm going to do a 6 here. Excellent. And now we'll do this backwards. So let's do the 8. So craps roll 4, 4 for the 8. We should get paid 23. Then for the 9, we should get paid 29. Then for the 10, we should get paid 39. Excellent, so that does seem to be working just fine. I'll let that continue to roll for a little bit while we work out the logic for the lay1 function. So this is going to be very, very similar with a couple of exceptions. First is the amount 1 is going to be reversed. And I think it's the bet divided by the odds multiplier. Yeah, so here we have bet divided by the odds multiplier. Like, let's just grab this. So amount 1 is equal to bet divided by odds multiplier. Now the commission is charged based on the amount you're going to win rather than the bet. So let's swap these, compute the amount won first. Then the commission is going to be based on the amount won. Not there, we do it here. Swap out the bet for the amount won. And then we return amount won minus commission. And that should work. So let's go ahead and give this another try here. Oh, actually, I'm not quite there yet because I also need to adjust the spot where we... well, first I need to adjust the name of the function, lay1 rather than buy1. Need to adjust who calls this, or who should call this. Yeah, so for lay bets, instead of dark odds 1, it should be lay 1. Everything else is the same. And let's give that a try. So for this, I'll do the same thing as before. I'm going to bet on the 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. So say craps bet on the lay, or the 4. We need to bet 40 to win 20. So I'll go ahead and do that. Then on the 5, we need to bet 30 to win 20. On the 6, we need to bet 24 to win 20. On the 8, we also need to bet 24. On the 9, we need to bet 30. Then on the 10, we need to bet 40. You know what? I screwed up. It just occurred to me that I need to test these one at a time because the lay bets are opposite. So let's try this one more time. We'll test just the 4 at this point. So we need to bet 40 to win 4. And now let's do a craps roll 3, 4 to test the 7 out and see what this does here. Excellent, so we won 19, so we would have won 20, but we charged the $1 commission, or the 1 unit commission. Let's just make sure that our bets aren't still around here. They are. This will make this a little harder to test, so I'm going to go through and fix up this, so these bets should not stick around on a win any longer. I know I put this as second on my task list, but it does kind of need to... I think it makes sense to combine it at this point. Well, we'll do it for testing purposes, but then we'll make that a separate commit. So we'll do this for testing purposes for right now, but... So for now, we will keep it the way it is, but we will remember to switch that back to false before we commit. Alright, so let's just try that one more time just to be sure that that is still working. So I'll say craps bet lay on the 4 for $40. Craps roll 3, 4. We should get paid 19. Excellent, and then we should no longer have any bets around. So we'll say craps bets. I have no bets. Excellent. So now let's do, craps bet lay on the 5. We need to bet 30 to win 20, or 19 in this case. Let's do a quick balance check here as well. So craps balance. So 1,282.93. Now say craps bet on the lay. So we've done the 5. Let's do the 6 for 24 to win 20. Craps roll 3, 4. That should make us win 19. And now let's check the balance. My balance should be 1,282. Should be 1,291. No, 1,301.93. 1,301.93. Excellent. So that much is working there. Now let's go through the upper end. So we've done 4, 5, 6. Let's do the 8 for 24. We'll do a 7 out to make sure I get paid 19. Excellent. So now let's do the 9 for 30. And I should again get paid 19. Excellent. And finally the 10. So craps bet on the lay 10 for 40 to win 20 on 19. Craps roll 3, 4. Excellent. Let's just do another check. Make sure that there's no other bets out there. I have no bets. Excellent. There shouldn't be a point either. No point for each of those. So we should be done. Let's go ahead and revert these back to false. And I think the final change we can make is these two functions are no longer used. Buy commission and lay commission are no longer used. Let's just do a quick search and make sure that's the case. In fact, we can just do a search on commission. Should only be a small number of these. So we compute it for buy 1 and lay 1. And then we buy commission, lay commission. That's it. So yep, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these guys. Always good when you're able to delete code. We'll just do a very quick smoke test to make sure I haven't broken anything with that last edit. We'll say craps bet the buy on the 4 for 20. This should cause me to win 39. Excellent. And I should have a balance. I should have a bet remaining on that 4. Oops. Yeah, let's go ahead and clear that out. We'll say craps roll 3, 4. Now let's do a craps bet the lay on the 4 for 40. And I won 19. So that appears to be working just fine. Say craps bets again. And it still exists. Our next commit will address that. We can clear that. We can say craps roll 2, 2 to clear that out. I lost my 40 bucks. No! And I should have no more bets. Let's just do a quick check on that. Craps bets. And yes, I have no further bets. So let's go take a look at the code to see where we're at here. Oh, you know, I actually just thought of something that I want to add here. We have our player guide. that talks about all the different bets that are made, and we have the buy and the lay bets. And it occurred to me that I probably should say something about how the commission is charged on these, so that people know how to place those bets. So for the buy and the lay, let's actually clarify that commission is charged when the bet is won. Okay. Commission is charged when bet is won. So that way they understand that rather than have to bet 21 or 41 respectively, they can bet just 20 or 40. They don't have to factor in the commission into the amount they're placing down. And I think that's easier to think about as well. There's just less kind of mental arithmetic that people have to do that. Yeah, beforehand, the original logic I had where the commission was charged based off of the full amount, it was really weird. You were putting down $20, being charged a commission of $1 to place a bet of 19. And A, you were being cheated. That's not how the casinos work. And it meant the math was just really weird. There was no way to there's no easy way to have a bet of $20. And so you're basically doing multiples of 19 or something. It was just really weird and unfortunate. So now this works a lot better, and now that it's charged only when the bet is won, that makes it even better. Alright, so let's continue to look at the code here. So now we've changed craps table and the guide. We'll do a diff and see where we're at. So we've added these functions, the buy one and lay one. So buy one computes the commission based on the amount of the bet. Then it computes the amount won based on the odds multiplier times your bet. Then deducts the commission for the amount won, and that's what your return for the amount you win. For the lay one, it's very similar, but opposite in some respect. The amount won is your bet divided by the odds multiplier. Commission is charged based on the amount you've won. Or rather than here, the commission is charged on the amount you've bet. So here on the lay, it's the amount you've won. Then again, we return the amount won minus your commission. Here, instead of calling dark odds 1, we call lay 1. There's a simple change. Here, instead of light odds 1, it's buy 1. Then for bet, for processing the bet command, we've removed this commission function. And so anywhere where handle bet is called, we simply remove that parameter. That's why all of these lines are changed. Handle number bet, the same thing. We've removed the commission function. We used to pass in buy commission and lay commission. We've removed those as well, because that's replaced with the bet handling logic that I just showed you. This is part of the number function, or this is something else. We used to pass in undefined for the commission function. Now we don't pass anything in. Handle number bet, we used to take in commission function. We no longer do. We no longer process commission function. We don't pass it in. And here we have handle bet. We got rid of commission function as a parameter. We got rid of all of the logic. We now output the message based on the amount you've bet, not on and we don't use the commission logic, and we place the bet or make the bet based on the amount, and again remove the commission logic. And here we've removed the two commission functions, the buy commission and the lay commission. And finally, we've updated our documentation to indicate that the commission is charged when bet is won, rather than when the bet is placed, which is kind of a worse deal. And when it's charged when bet is the won, that's actually a better deal. When it's charged when the bet is placed, that's a worse deal. So we're making things nicer for the players. We're being a relatively nice casino here. And in fact, if you look at my upcoming bets, we're going to be pretty nice in a lot of things here. Where the easy and hard hot bets are going to pay very nicely. The craps are paying fairly nicely. Any 7 is paid poorly, but I couldn't find a convenient way to make that a better bet. And so that's just the way that's going to be. You can overcome that by placing other better bets. Yeah, charging commission for buy and lay bets only in a win is a nice improvement for players. Okay, so I think that is all of the code there. So let's just go ahead and move this up above. Charge commission for buy and lay bets only on a win. Charge commission for buy and lay bets only on a win. This actually does involve a small documentation change, so I am going to go ahead and push that to GitHub right away so I can review that change to our player guide. Perfect, so we've now defined that on the buy and the lay bets, the commission is charged when bet is 1. Perfect. So let's go look up what's next here. So we have remove buy and lay bets on a win. Since the commission is only paid on a win, there is no benefit to keeping the bet around. Alright, so we actually kind of touched on this earlier. Let's go look for the buy 1 and the lay 1 calls here. So we actually converted this to a true, from a false to a true, and here from a false to a true. And now everywhere where we call process bets, that final parameter is a true. And so really there's no reason to keep that parameter around any longer. Other than the fact that at some future point, we have some notes to keep place and buy bets around after they win. But we only want to do that after we have the logic for allowing players to change existing bets. So until we have that logic, keeping bets around isn't going to be so great. And so my thought for this is actually just remove the parameter. You know, knowing that I might want to, or that I am planning to add this back at some future point, leads me to potentially want to keep that around. But I'm not using that logic right now, and I don't know what the code will look like by the time I get around to adding that feature. I may never add that feature, and so I don't want to keep dead code around, your code that I'm not using, on the off chance that I might someday use it. That's kind of a code smell at that point, and keeping dead code around is basically more room for bugs, more code to maintain that I can't test. And so since I can't test it, bugs might crop in that I won't notice, and then when I finally do use it, I now have to diagnose, God knows how many days or weeks or months worth of bugs. But it's really simple to add it back if we want to, and we can always look at the source code in my source control to kind of work out that, okay, let's go figure out what that looked like and add it back if that's something that we wanted. So let's go look for who calls process bets. Actually I need to do something here. I got rid of this if entirely. What happened when I did that is it meant that we're never going to clear the bets. So let's just always clear the bets. That's going to be what we wanted instead. Alright, so this is pretty nice and simple. We just get rid of the word true on each of these calls here. So I'll continue to line these up. In some cases, some of these might be able to fit on one line, but not this one. Always looking for better ways of formatting the code, and when I end up deleting something like this, it's an opportunity to see if I can make things fit a little bit better. Looks like that is not the case for these guys. The code is just a little too lengthy. Oh, this one actually does fit. Sweet. This one I can clean that up. I'm just going to go through and just make sure that all these are all cleaned up here. Good, good, good. Also good. Good, good, good. Also good. Then we have these two. Some simple ones here. Another batch of bets. And just a few more. Forget how often this function gets called. These might be small enough I can now fit on one line. That just barely. That is right at the edge, so I will allow that. Do I want to? How about this one? This one obviously fits. Between trying to line this up. If I line that up, then it no longer fits. So I think the preferred approach is to not line it up and keep it all in one line. And that you can actually see that's similar to what I did up here, where I didn't bother to line things up, although it is small enough up here that I can. I'll probably do that there just because I can. There's just so many issues down here. If I do that, then I've got to wrap that. If I do this, I could do this, I suppose. I know I could spend forever on trying to figure out how to make this look pretty. And it's tough to say. We'll stick with that for now, till the next time I look at it and decide I want to change it. Knowing that I'll probably be adding this stuff back at some point, I probably shouldn't spend too much time obsessing over how it looks. But one of my things for code is to always make sure it looks as nice as you can. I want code that at a glance makes it really obvious what's going on, so you can look at it and don't have to struggle too hard to see what's going on. And so stuff like making sure it all fits on one line, making sure that if you have a lot of repetitive stuff, that the repetitive stuff is kind of vertically aligned so that it's easy to see at a glance what's going on. I think all that is important. So that's why I spend so much time on making sure all that stuff does look correct, or as nice as I can get it. It's not always possible. It's always a balancing act, especially on some of these longer lines. But yeah, I think the results or the benefits are pretty clear. All right, so I'm just going to go through all the places where process bets is called and make sure that I have hit all of them now. So just making sure that we don't have any trailing trues at the end of any of these calls, and make sure the formatting still looks good here. All looks good so far. Just doing a very quick visual check. Obviously, we'll run the code as well and make sure that the code works. All looking good so far. Okay, yeah, so that's nice and simple. Let's go ahead and run the project. And just do some simple quick tests. First, we'll do the pass line to make sure that the pass line still sticks around. Let's see, I want to go here. So say craps bet pass on the 5. And let's do craps roll 5 6. So we have a simple winner that should remove the bet. So let's make sure that the bet has been removed. I have no bets. Craps balance. My balance should be whatever with no available balance. Excellent. And now let's try a buy bet. So we'll say craps bet buy on the 4 for say 20. And then let's roll the 4. And I won it, and I should no longer have that bet. I have no bets. Excellent. Make sure my balance shows up here. Balance is 140093 with no bets taken out the available balance. Now let's bet on the lay. So craps bet lay on the 4 for we're going to bet 40 to win 20 or 19 in this case. Now let's roll a 7. And I won 19. Now let's make sure that my bets no longer exist here either. Alright, so I've said enough. The function's pretty routine. There's only that one line I had to change, and if I missed one, I should have picked it up by now. It's possible that one of the other bets I have not adjusted, but I think JavaScript will actually ignore excess parameters. It also worked through it all, so I don't know if I feel like I need to test every single bet at this time. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the code here and see where we're at. Alright, so we've changed process bets. We've removed the clear bets parameter, and rather than doing a bets.clear based on if that parameter is true or not, we just do that on every single case. Which is fine, because everywhere we call this function, that parameter was set to true at this point. And so here is all the cleanup we've done. We got rid of that parameter, got rid of that parameter, just got rid of that parameter everywhere where it occurred here. That's just a pretty simple change. Lots of little tiny changes, but it's a pretty simple change overall. Alright, that looks great. Let's just say we'll clear buy and lay bets on a win. See, this does not need to get pushed to GitHub immediately because it doesn't change any documentation. So I'll hold off on this until I have a change I want to push to GitHub right away. Let's go look at what's next here. So we've done kind of the cleanup that I've talked about. And now we're on to the remaining craps bets. And next on the list is the field bet. So this is a one roll bet. If you roll a 3, 4, 9, 10, or 11, you get paid 1 to 1. If you roll a 2, you get paid 2 to 1. If you roll a 12, you get paid 3 to 1. But it's a one roll bet, so it's a nice simple bet to make at least. So let's go look up. Let's just start adding logic to support the field bet. So here we have all of our data structures for storing bets. We have player balances, we have pass, pass odds, don't pass odds. Then we have all of these sparse arrays for all of these other bets that can be on an array of numbers. Come bets, come odds, don't come odds, place to lose, buy, and lay all get placed on, all use a sparse array because those bets can be placed on the 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Plus the come and the don't come also have kind of the basic bet that I store as index 0. For the field, I think what I want to do is just make a new bet here. Now, unlike all of the other bets with a sparse array, I don't need to add this in all sorts of sections. Like, I don't need to initialize it because we've already initialized it up above. Just could continue to look through code where we reference all the bets though, because there's still a couple of places where I need to add it. Get available balance. Yeah, so let's say if field bets has username, available balance is minus equals field bets.get username. So that way your available balance is adjusted by your field bet. All right, let's keep looking here. So that's one of these spots that needs to be adjusted. Adjust balance, no. Check minimum balance, no. Show bet results, no. Odds multiplier. So we have all of the bet handling logic, so this isn't going to be touched yet. I want to add support for placing the bet first, and then I will add in the bet handling logic. Alright, so here we have bets exist. This checks the existence of bets in any of our data structures, so we need to check to see if fields bets has a size greater than 0. If it does, return true. I think the final place for the infrastructure-wise is where we have our bets command to print out your field bets. Yeah, we're pretty close here. Bets command. Now let's just do it here, right after the pass odds, don't pass odds. We'll say field. This is me on field bets. We have a nice pattern here that greatly simplifies adding new bets to this list here. There's a nice refactoring we did either last week or the week before. And so that supports that pretty easily. And I think that's it. Up next is the bet handling, or being able to place the bet. So we've done this after the don't pass odds, or the don't pass, so let's do it here. We'll add in a bet starts with field. We'll say handle bet field. This field bets. The don't pass has a check function. I don't think there is a check function for field. It can make the field bet at any time. No restrictions. I'm going to just pass in undefined for the check function. And pass in the bet. And I think that's it. To support placing the bet, obviously I don't have the logic in place to win the bet yet, but I think that should be enough to handle placing the bet. Let's give that a try and see if we can actually place the bet. So first let's get a balance baseline. So let's say craps balance to see what my current balance is, 1,419. Now let's say craps bet field for 10. View the balance, make sure that my available balance has been adjusted. Yeah, so I've lost 10 out of my available balance. Let's do craps bets. Make sure that that shows up. Excellent. We do some small tests on the bet handling logic to make sure that we're calling the right function. So craps bet field kappa, make sure we get a complaint of unable to parse amount. Yeah, I don't need to test all that stuff. We know that we're calling the right function. Finally, we'll make sure if we bet the bet a second time, that complains as well. We've already made this bet. Yeah, so that's nice and simple. So the ability to place the bet is all in place. I'm going to stop the bot while I do the next batch of logic here because it's just going to keep running in the background. And so the next step is to handle winning or losing of these bets. So let's go scroll up until we find the block for handling processing a roll. And I think this is a great spot to handle the field bet here. We have logic for if we have no point. None of this really matters. So we could say, let's say handle field bets. So what did we say for these? If we roll a 3, 4, 9, 10, or 11, you win 1 to 1. We could say, let's just grab this. I said, what, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. So 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. So 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. So if you roll any of those, that is a winner. So let's say, what am I doing? As I process bets, we'll pass in field bets. And we'll say that you've won. Handle field bet 1x winners. Now let's say handle field bet 2x winners. So for this we said if you roll a 2 you get paid 2 to 1. So if the die total is equal to 2, we do something here. We don't have a bet function to handle this, so we need to come up with what we want to do for this. And we can add in a binding parameter to indicate a multiplier, which feels really kind of crummy. I could add in a bet 1 twice or bet 1 2x type function that just hard codes the 2x. But that's not going to be great because we're going to have a 3x down the road, and eventually we're going to have a 9x, a 7x, a 7.5x, a 4x, a 33x, and a 16x. And I don't want to build in a specific function for each of those. really don't want to pollute bet1 by adding a binding function to, or binding parameter to bet1, because that's going to make, because bet1 is used all over the place. So I think we could add in a new bet1 that takes in a binding parameter and use that instead. So let's go look up bet1. Yeah, so let's just replicate this. Bet1 multiple, we'll call it. And as before, we can't pass in the multiple directly. We need to have a binding parameter to do it. So we'll say, use bind an object to this function as follows. Craps table is reference to the craps table object, which I don't think that matters. So let's drop that. Let's add in the multiple. The multiplier. Let's grab that so I can spell it correctly. The multiplier for the bet. Yeah, we'll use that as the name and see what that looks like. So this time, so give me 1 second. I've got something come up I need to address here, so give me 1 small second. Sorry about that, guys. Just had a quick phone call come in that I had to address. Just something else going on in my life that I wasn't able to avoid, unfortunately. But I'm back. I was able to get rid of that and continue on with my work here. Alrighty, so we've been working on this bet1 multiplier function. It was about an object to this function as follows. Multiplier is the multiplier for the bet. Return bet times multiplier. Now I was just thinking through, do I need to pass in, or do I need to use like a floor or a ceiling function here to ensure that if the multiplier is weird, well, actually this should be this dot multiplier. But I think in process bets we've done a for function there. Let's just double check that to be sure, but I think we've already handled that. Yep, here we go. Result is math.for, bet result. Perfect, so yeah, we've already done the math.for. And now let's go look up for how we handle the field bet. And instead of bet1, it's going to be a bet1 multiple. Let's look for a binding function call. have one. Here is one. So this is bet 1 multiplier. Rather than bind it in craps table, we bind in multiplier of 2. And I think that'll work. We'll obviously test all this, and so that's if we roll a 2 with a field bet. The next up is if we roll a 12, that gets paid 3 to 1. So let's go take a look at that. We roll a 12, the multiplier now becomes 3. The other question is what happens if we roll any of these non-field numbers? Field bet losers. So in this case, we have 2, 3, 4. So it's the 5, 6, 7, 8 that are the field bet losers. They're the center field numbers or non-field numbers. 5, no field 5 is a common call for stuff like that. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is a field number, center field 9. So we said, what, 5, no field 5. 6, 7, and 8 are the losers. And rather than saying bet 1, we say bet lost. This feels like enough logic we can move it to its own function. So let's just go ahead and do that. So let's say process field bets, we will call it. We have die total. Let's just grab these. Just enough logic here that I want to kind of keep it out of the main function if I can. Plus it allows us to call that function and have it look real nice. So this process field bets die total. I think that'll look a lot better. Alright, let's give this a try here. Alright, so let's just try some of the basics. Let's try a loser first. Let's say craps bet field for 5. And let's say craps roll 2, 3. So that's a center field 5. Or no field 5, sorry. I lost $5. Now let's make sure that my bet does not exist any longer. I have no bets, alright, so now let's bet another field bet of 5. Say craps roll, let's do 5, 4. I won. Excellent. Do another $5 bet on the field. Now let's get paid double. So let's say craps roll 1, 1. Excellent, we won double our bet. Let's make sure that the bet is still cleared out. Excellent, I have no bets. And finally, let's do a craps bet field 5, and let's get paid triple. So craps roll 6, 6. Excellent, so we've tested the 2, the 12. Let's just go through all of the other numbers and make sure that they all work. They all have to be tested individually just to make sure that I did hit all of them. So I'll just do another craps field bet here. Do that for 5. Now let's roll a 3. And that should win. See, I think we tested the 4, but I'm just going to go through it as well here. So craps roll 2, 2 to make sure that the 4 still works. Excellent. Now I'm going to do the 5. And this should lose. Yep, I lost my $5. Now let's do the 6. This should also lose. I lost my $5. Now let's do a 7. I should also lose. Excellent. I lost my $5. Now let's do an 8. That should also be a loser. Excellent, I lost 5 more bucks. Now let's do the 9. This should start winning, so let's look for some winning here. Excellent, now let's do the 10. That should also be a winner. And finally, an 11 should also be a winner. Alright, so nice and simple. The field bet is working on all the numbers. We've tested the 2, and that pays us out double. We've tested the 12, that pays us out triple, and we've tested all of the other numbers. And they win or lose as appropriate, so that is looking good. Let's go review our player guide. And let's add the field bet to our list here. So we have our pass odds, our don't pass odds, our field. I'm just doing the same order that they appear in the code. There might be a better logical ordering to this at some point, but I think this will work. Let's go take a look at the code. Alright, so we've added a new data structure, a new map to track the field bets. We've added that to our available balance logic. We've added a new function, a bet1 multiplier, that allows you to specify a multiplier for the bet, and then when you win it, we return that bet times the multiplier. Then we've added a process field bets function. So if you roll a 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, that is a 1x winner, and we just do the traditional bet 1 for that. If you roll a 2, that is a 2x winner. We make use of our new bet 1 multiplier function. Oh hey, these are small enough. I might be able to do these on one line. I could, but we have this pattern that we've been working with here. Well, let me look at that, see what if I can see what it looks like at least. I'm thinking I could drop this compound statement and go like that, and drop this compound statement and go like that. And I think I like that better. I know I do have this kind of pattern that we have big long if, compound statement with the processing bed, but here, since these ifs are nice and small and short, I'm able to combine it all in one line, and so I think I will continue to do that here, move that all into one line. So a quick smoke test to make sure I haven't broken anything with that small change. Do a craps bet on the field for 5. I think there was the 2 and the 12 that were affected by this. So we'll say craps roll 1-1. Excellent. And then craps bet on the field for 5 again. Craps bet, or craps roll 6-6. And 115. Excellent. So those are both working just fine with that small change. Really didn't think that change would be a problem, but I do like to just test things like that just to make sure I haven't missed anything. You never know, you have fat finger or something, and then all of a sudden you've got a comma in a weird place. Doesn't hurt to do a quick smoke test to make sure you haven't screwed anything up. Alright, so that's the process field bets function that we've just finished and worked on. Here we have, we've called the process field bets function here. This is part of our die handling, our die rolling function. Here we've added field bets to the function to see if bets exist. So if the field bet exists, we'll return true. This probably is never going to be used because I think the field bet is a one-roll bet, so it's not likely that's ever going to be true, but I do that just for consistency. Let's see here. This is the bet display. So if you place the bet and then use the bets command to display your bets, we now display your field bets. And we have this check here. If your bet command starts with the word field, that is a field bet. There's nothing special about it, so there's no checks or anything else. So pretty basic there. And we've added it to our player guide as well. So nice and simple. Let's come up with a commit message I can use for this. Add support for buy bet. So this is going to be add support for field bet. I really mean commit. Yes, I really meant commit, not my misspelled version of commit. Alrighty, so I have those 2 commits to push. Let's go ahead and push those now. I've made changes to our player guide. Oops. Did I mean gut push? No, I meant get push. Let's go take a look at our player guide and make sure that that does show up properly here. Actually, there is the field bet. Alright, so let's look at our list of remaining tasks here. So we have the hard ways are next on my list. How these work is you're basically betting that you're going to hit these numbers, the 6 or the 8 or the 4 or the 10, the hard way, where you basically have doubles on your dice. You have 3-3 for the 6, a 4-4 for the 8, a 2-2 for the 10, 2-2 for the 4, 5-5 for the 10. They lose if you hit those numbers the easy way. So a 1-5 for the 6, or a 2-4 for the 6, or a 2-6 for the 8, or a 3-5 for the 8. Those are easy ways of hitting those numbers. 4 and the 10, same thing. You can roll a 1 and a 3 for an easy 4, or a 6 and a 4 for an easy 10. They also lose if you roll a 7 before you roll the appropriate number. And so those are multi-roll bets. You place them and we continue to roll until they're resolved. Probably a pretty easy bet to consider. Just trying to think through what to do here. They're going to be on multiple numbers, so I could do like a hard way bet. Let's just think what this might look like. We could say, you know, craps bet hard way, and then the number, which would be, you know, 4, 6, 8, or 10, and then the amount. As one option, we could do it per number. Craps bet hard 4, say. Let's just look at what these might look like. So, to do kind of example bets for this, we'll just say pull up the 4. The amount, we'll just go a 10 for these. So 4, 6, 8, 10. 4, 6, 8, 10. These would be a little bit different. We'll say hard dash 4, 10, hard dash 6, 10, dash 8, 10. I missed one here. I kind of like this format here because that fits the format we've already done for place bets and come odds and buy bets and all these other kind of bets on a specific number. And it kind of simplifies the code a little bit. I'm also kind of thinking through what we're going to do for the hop bets. Let's just think through hops bets as well. So craps bet hop. And these can be all sorts of variations. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4. Because you're basically hopping a specific bet. We can do 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. 3, 4, 6. There's all of the possible hop variations. Because you're basically betting a very specific combination is going to come up. And the order doesn't matter. You know, a 1, 2 is going to be the same as a 2, 1, so I just kind of simplified the ordering for my perspective here, but you can do it any direction you want. I'll probably want to sanitize that and make sure it's all stored in the same order. This might be like a double-ended array or something, or a double indexed array. I'm not sure what to do for hop bets yet. See, I could change this. If we don't like the word hard way, we could just go hard. Hard 4, hard 6, hard 8, hard 10. just get rid of the dash and do a space instead, so it's basically the same at that point. Yeah, let's go with that. I like that. Because that simplifies the code, that simplifies the data structures, and it kind of works similar to the other stuff we have going on here. And so let's also diagram out for the hop bets while we're here, just while we're thinking about it. So we have hop bets. This will be die 1, die 2, followed by a mount. Yeah, I think both of those will work just fine. Alright, so we have our hard ways diagram, we have our proposition. So we have any craps, any 7. I could probably do something like, craps bet any craps amount. Craps bet any 7 amount. That might work. Fire, bottom, top, big 6/8. I'll address those down the road. I think I just kind of want to diagram out the next basic steps here. Yeah, let's go look at the hard ways. I think I have enough time to do a hard way bet, and then that'll probably be a good wrapping point for today. So let's look up how to do the hard way bets. So this will be another sparse array. It's going to be a little different than we've been doing. Hard bets. Let's just look through our initialization logic here. So initialize bets arrays into indices 0, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this is just not going to be great for hard ways. So let's come up with a different interval here. Initialize hard bets arrays. Hard bets array. So this is going to be 4, 6, 8, 10. So I is going to be equal to 4, I less than equal to 10, I plus equals 2. Now let's just grab one of these guys here. Let's just grab this because there's going to be less formatting crap in there. So this dot hard bets I sub I is equal to net. This we'll probably reuse a few times, so I'm going to get that on my clipboard and we'll just continue to look through the list of stuff here. So I've got available balance, iterate over bets, arrays, indices, 0, 4, 5, blah, 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 blah. What is this? I'm going to find the appropriate lock here. Looks like here. right, iterate over hard bets array. Right, let's just steal this. Iterate over. And what does this look like? We just have available balances. Well, let's see. If lay bets has might be able to do a one-liner on this. I was just thinking through briefly if I could do a function call to make this function even simpler, because we have this pattern here very similar to the bet display logic, where it's like if it exists, then we do something. So I could do like a get bet type function that would take in the name of the user, the name of the bet map. If the map has the username, it would return the bet, otherwise it would return 0. And could simplify this logic a little bit. For now, let's just do what we're here to do. We'll think about that just for a second here, but just always kind of keeping an eye out for refactorings like that. As we have this logic that appears over and over and over again, and if we could simplify that, that might make this easier, at least cleaner to write. So if this dot hard bets sub I has username, available balance mine is equal to that dot get username. And so this is too long to do as one line, but we can imagine if we had a helper function, this might be something we could do as one line. So let's just think through that here. Do we have a get bet function? We have get bet number. No, just get bet number. Okay. We have get available balance, get balance. Let's just try this. Let's just type in a get bet function. We're going to pass in username. And so we're line 145. I have a function I can base this off of. Just want to look and see what I did for that. Like bet display. Yeah, so here we had bet type and bet map. So we could do bet map, I guess. Oops. Okay, bet map. And what do we want to do here? So let's just grab one of these. So if this dot bet map, actually it's not this, it's just bet map. If bet map has username, then return bet map dot get. Otherwise, return 0. Let's just look and see how this might be affected. So we'll call available balance minus equals this dot get bet. Now we have a pass in username, comma, the bet maps of this past bets. That's quite a bit simpler already. So let's go look at the rest of these here. So we have pass bets, odds, don't pass odds, and field bets. So let's just go look, code up all of these guys here. Pass odds, don't pass odds, and field bets. So it doesn't do a whole lot for this section here, but it does simplify it a little bit and gets rid of some duplicate code. Now let's look up this stuff here. So we have come and don't come. So let's just grab the come bets. And the don't come bets. Now this is where it's going to be a lot more valuable, as I think this will allow me to do these on all one line each. So let's take another look. We'll start with the come odds bets. Come odds bet sub I. Then there's going to be the don't come. Then there's going to be the place and don't place. Place and don't place. So let's just drop all these that we've done. We've done come odds, don't come odds, place, and don't place. And finally there are buy and lay bets. Let's grab those as well. Buy and lay. Now let's go line all these guys up. So already we can see that that is giving us a fair amount of simplification here. The actual amount of code isn't significantly less, but it's small enough that allows us to compact all this into one line each and get rid of all those compound statements. And finally we could do the same thing here for hard way bets. Just grab one of these. In fact, this might be small enough that we could do, well, we'll see, but I could maybe even move this all into one-liner on the for statement as well, which would be amazing. So this is hard bet sub I. Let's just see if we could do that. I think it's small enough we could do that. Great, so I know that is a lot to pack into one line, but it all fits and it's all relatively simple. We'll basically iterate over those hard way bets, recompute or deduct from our available balance each time. So I don't know, I think it looks good. So I'm going to continue on looking for places where all the bets are referenced. So we've done initialization, we've done available balance. I think there's going to be bets exist section is next. Just kind of going through the code. The whole bet1 section is getting lengthier and lengthier and lengthier because I keep adding more specialized functions. Process roll. So here we're going to call a function to see if bets exist, and so I'll need to adjust that function to accommodate it. Yeah, so we're like, what, line 538, so let's go back to where we were. Over hard bits arrays index is 46810, and we could say if blah 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 size is greater than 0, return true. So if this dot hard bits sub I dot size is greater than 0, return true. Yeah, so that should be good. So we've done the available balance, we've done the bets exist. I think next up is the bet display, so we'll just continue to look for that section here. Yeah, here we go. Bet display, bets command. Yeah, we'll do the same thing here. So we'll yeah, this might be big enough. We'll need to do a compound statement. We'll see. So I've bet display username. In this case, it is hard plus I. This hard bet sub I. Bets found is equal to true. I'm not sure if this is small enough to fit in one line. Not. It's just a little out of reach, so we'll do the compound statement here. And yeah, I think that is it for the kind of the infrastructure work. Up next is to allow players to actually place the bets. So we have the bet command. Now we have this handle number bet that will handle parsing a number. Let's go look at what that does here. So we get the bet number. Who uses get bet number? So we have handle come odds uses it. Handle number bet uses it. I was just trying to see if we could refactor this to handle hard ways, because most of the logic is going to be the same here. You know, we want to make sure that they specified a number. We want to make sure that we're able to parse the number. The thing that's going to be different is this limitation here. All of the bets so far are looking for a point, a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. And now we're looking for a hard way. Well, let's see here. Let's look this over here. Get bet number. Let's just see who calls this. So we could call this a get bet point. Because we're really looking for a point. Only a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 is a valid point. So we can make that to be about that degree of error handling. Get bet point. And same for this. Get bet point. And so what I could do is do like a basic function to just get the number that does all of the handling except for this block right here. So let's just copy paste this function and do a get bet number function that handles everything but that one thing. So get bet number. Let's have to do all this. Make sure we specify a number, make sure we can parse it, but we don't care about if it's valid or not. We'll just return the number. So now get point. Let's go look and see how get point gets used, and we can try to clean this up a little bit here. So I say number is equal to this get bet number. Username type bet. I'm just trying to see if we need all those parameters, and we use username to send them a message. We need type to make sure it starts with the correct thing, and then we need bet because that is the actual command, I think. Yeah, so I need all three parameters. All right. So number is equal to get bet number. If it's not a number, we return. I think we do need to return not a number in this case. Oops. And then we don't care about that. We don't care about the ability to parse it, but we do care about if it's a valid number. So we get it. If it's not a number, we return not a number. Otherwise, we make sure that it's a point, that it is 4, 5, 6, or 8, 9, 10, and then return it. Just trying to think through what's next. We need a function to get the hard number, which is going to be 4, 6, 8, 10, where we could call it an even point. We have get bet point, get bet even point. I was just thinking, could we even add like could we maybe undo all the changes I've just done, call get bet, I think it was number, and add an additional check. That might be an easier way to go. Yeah, let's think about that. I think that might be an easier approach to take. I think we've got a nice fat undo buffer here, so let's just undo all the changes I've made here up to where I started this current refactoring. I don't think I've added in the hard way bet handling yet. I haven't started that. Now let's see here. So, I mean, this returns not a number if it's less than 4, greater than 10, or if it's 7. And so we could add an additional check that basically returns not a number if it's 5 or 9. Or if it's odd, or not even. We can do a couple different approaches there. I'm also thinking through a little bit towards the next bet. We have this hop bets. Now we're going to be doing 1 through 6 to get the number there. And it might make sense to continue to have this more generic function I've been working on. So I think I will actually redo all the changes I've been working on. Sorry for going back and forth, but just trying to think through what a good approach would be here. So yeah, we can call getBetPoint. We can then call, we can build like a getBetHardPoint. Let's look at that here. So getBetHardPoint. And so if number is equal to 5 or 9, we could complain an invalid number at that point, otherwise return the number. And then I think we need, instead of a handle number bet, we could say handle hard bet? I'm not sure here. Or actually, hey, SteveWood1990, you ask, how is it going? I'm doing all right. How are you doing? Just adding a new type of bet to my system here and trying to figure out how to fit it in with my existing logic, and it's always a little tricky trying to figure out how to integrate a new type of logic. Hi, doing good, just getting ready to eat dinner. Excellent. You must be quite a few hours ahead of me. I'm looking at my clock and I'm thinking of grabbing lunch here before too long. So we have handle number bet. We could pass in a chuck function into this whole stack that basically does the additional check on the number being a hard way. Steve Wood says, yes, it is 6 p.m. there. Cool, it must be like Western Europe or England or something like that would be my guess. It's been a while since I've looked at time zones, but that would be my guess. Yeah, I'm on the United States West Coast myself, so that's why our time zone is so far apart. Oh, England, excellent. Yeah, so we've handled number bet. This gets the number. If it's not a number return, we handle the bet. So what are the options? We can build new hard way, do handle hard way function. Yeah, similar to like handle number bet, so handle hard way bet function. Which I'm not sure if I care about that one too much. we could build new check function that verifies the number is within range. And with something like that, the get number function would not check that the number is within range. Need to update other bets that rely on this logic. See, I don't like this because there's only one place where I'm going to call that, and if I'm only calling a function in one spot, why bother? Although even the check function is going to be the same issue. Because I'm basically going to be building a check function that's used in only one spot. And do we have any other check functions here on these bets? We have number bet. Handle number bet doesn't have a check function at all. So we could build in a check function on that. That is an option. Although, oh, here's the problem. I can't do this at a check function because the check function relies on the bet type and map already being set. So we need to make sure that the bet map exists here on line 850, and it's only 857 that the check function gets called. And so a traditional check function won't work. Traditional check function won't work there. And thinking through with the hops, that's going to be its own unique thing, because the handle number or get number basically just handles the first number. And I could probably call it twice to get both numbers. That's a pretty brutal abuse of that function, though. We could build in, add concept of a number limiter function that is passed into handle number. Oh, what's the function called? Handle number bet. Number limiter function that is basically used to limit the number. Let's just look at other bets we have coming up here. So we have hard ways that we're working on right now. We've got proposition, any craps, any 7. The hop bets, and I think those are going to be a unique case. So I probably don't want to think about those in relation to this refactoring. And fire, bottom, top, all big states. So the only one that really needs to matter, the only thing I need to solve right now is the hard ways. And I think the simplest approach, the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid, let's just build a new hard way bet function rather than adding all this complex functionality that isn't really going to be relevant. So let's go ahead and do that. I think we're already most of the way there. So we have get hard point. So we have get bet point to get hard point. And I suspect lots of places have already been up to call get bet point. Yeah. So get hard point. So we'll call get bet point. And now let's add a handle. What did I call it? Handle hardway bet. I think I call it hard. Let's see, we're on line 8, 2, 1. I just called it hard bet, so let's just go with that. Handle hard bet. As instead of get point, it's going to be get bet hard point, I believe. Yeah, get bet hard point. And since this function is only used once, I could probably hard code type. I could also probably hard code this. Now let's go ahead and do that. So let's do this. We'll say it should be hard plus a space plus the number. The bets should be this dot hard bet sub the number. Now I don't need to pass in type or the bets any longer. Yeah, let's go add in the call to handle hard bets. So bet starts with hard. Handle hard bet. Don't need to pass in the type or the bets. I was looking through this stuff here and I see we have some things that might be small enough I could do as a one-liner. Hello, Gore Locker. Welcome to the stream. So let's just see what that looks like here. Let's do these that are small enough as a one-liner. And see if I like the way that looks. It may not be pretty. That might be why I didn't do this originally, but we'll see. I'll just keep going for as long as I can here, for however long they will fit on one line. This one might work. Yeah, that works. Now these are all too lengthy. This one might fit. Yep, that fits. This one might fit. Yep, that fits. So what do I think about that? Where we have some compound statements, some are one-liners. I really don't like mixing it like this, because that's pretty hard to visually process. The section at the end is okay. So I might leave the section at the end, but I think the stuff in the middle I will not do like that. There's so much thought goes into how to make the code look good at a glance, and I think doing that in the middle wasn't so great, but doing it at the end does work, that I can line most of this stuff up and have that look pretty good here as well. We've handled hard bet, that's kind of a new section, so I won't line that up with the other ones. And that's probably enough to allow us to place a hard way bet. I'm going to go ahead and run the code and see what that looks like. We don't process it yet, so we don't handle wins or anything, but we should be able to place it and see it affect all of the kind of infrastructure stuff. So when I coded it correctly. So let's try craps bet. We'll place a hard way bet. Let's just start with the basics. We'll start without specifying any number and make sure that that works. All right, so we have a issue here. Line 812, type is not defined. Yes, here I needed to give it the type, which in this case, we do this var type is equal to hard. This way, we only have to specify it once. Say type plus the number. Anything else? We have username, which we have type bet. I think that will work. Let's try it again. So as before, we say craps bet hard. You must specify a number. All right, let's give it a number. Craps bet hard PogChamp. I'm able to parse PogChamp. What? All right, let's give it a real number. Craps bet hard 0. Invalid number. All right, craps bet hard 5 is a point. That is not a hard point. Say craps bet hard 4. All right, so we're now past the initial step. Now we need to specify an amount. And at this point, we're basically to the other logic. So this should all work. We'll say craps bet hard. Let's try 6 now, and we'll pass in garbage for the number. And it'll parse amount. Craps bet hard 8. Pass in a small amount, less than 1. Bet is too small. Craps bet hard 10. Let's pass a large amount in. I think I have 1,000, so I'll pass in 5,000. That should be larger than my available amount. And now let's make a real bet here. Craps bet hard 10 for 50. All right, now let's check my balance. Make sure that my balance has been adjusted properly. Yeah, so I took 50 off my available balance. Let's list my bets. Says I have no bets. Huh. All right, so that's a bug. Let's go figure out what is going on there, why it's telling me I have no bets when I clearly have a bet. Oh, I put the hard ways in the wrong section. I need to put that above the output that says you have no bits. So, nice simple change. Let's go ahead and give that another try here. So we'll do all the other testing. We'll just do this final test. We'll say, well, craps balance. Make sure my balance is still correct. 1474. Craps bet hard 10 for 50. Craps balance. Make sure that's still adjusted here. 1424. And craps bets. Yes, now I have a bet on the hard 10 for 50. Let's just test craps bet hard 12 for 50. Make sure that... Okay, good. So it looks like it's limited us to the 4, 6, 8, and 10. Let's try to place the hard 10 again. Craps bet hard 10 for 50. You've already made this bet. Excellent. So all of the logic for placing the bet seems to work. It affects my available balance, and it shows up when I request my list of bets. So what's next is to handle this bet to allow it to win or lose depending on what you roll. So let's go to the section where we win or roll, or win or lose on bets. Oh, this is going to keep rolling while I keep doing this. I'm going to close out the bot because it's not going to have any way of resolving that bet until I add this code. As we have all these functions for processing bets, we could process field bets. And we have a function for processing field bets. We could add in a process hard bets that kind of encapsulates all that logic, and I think I will do that. Let's go ahead and add in a new process hard bets function. All right, so here, if we roll a 7, interesting, we actually need the 2 dice at this point, so we need die 1, die 2. Here we have die total. I don't know, let's do the logic inside the function for now, and we'll see if it makes sense to pull it out. So if we have no point... Oh, that's right, we have this logic for handling if we roll a 7, but it's part of our point logic. So we check to see if we have no point. If we have no point, a 7 is a winner. If we have a point... And so, yeah, probably a separate function is going to be good here. And yeah, it does mean I'll have to recompute the die total, but it's a nice simple line of code. So, handle. Now, rolling a 7 causes all hard ways to lose. Yeah, we could do something like this. Well, let's see, where is it? Just looking for an appropriate section. If die total is equal to 7. I suppose I could have written that, but... If die total is equal to 7, all of the hard ways are going to lose. So we're on line 462. Let's see, Void LT asks, hi, do you know Java and Python? I do know Java. I'm pretty knowledgeable about Java. I'm not... I haven't done much work with Python. In fact, I've rarely done anything with Python, so I don't really know Python, but I'm very familiar with Java. Let's see, So we need to iterate over all of the indices for the hard ways. Just looking for a spot where I can find where that's done here. Get a little bounce. There we go. I think it was what, 451? That was close. 457. Iterate over hard bet array indices 4, 6, 8, 10. And we basically want to say what this process bets, and the bet is lost for each of these. So process bets this dot hard bet sub I is lost. Alright, so that's if we roll a 7. Now let's see handle hard 4. So if die total is equal to 4, we have two cases here. If die 1 is equal to die 2, then we have a winner. So let's grab this and say we have a winner. Process bets. In this case, it's going to be the hard bets sub 4. Bet multiplier. I need to figure out what the multiplier is for a hard 4. We had said 7 to 1. So this will be a multiplier of 7. This all fits on one line. Else, we need to do a loser for this. Actually, it just occurred to me that the 4 and the 10 are the same. So handle hard 4 and 10. So let's just combine this together real fast. That or that. And then rather than doing sub 4, we could do die total. Now we're beginning to run into issues with line size. So we'll do this. So if the two dice are equal, and we need a 10 here. So if you roll a 4 or a 10 and your two dice are equal, you win 7 to 1. Otherwise, you lose. And then we need the other kind of hard numbers. This is what, the 6, 8? Yeah, 6, 8. My editor screws up when I copy paste. I'm still not sure what's going on there. So die total is 6 or 8. If they're equal again, this time the multiplier is 9. Just look at this. We have a bunch of duplicate code here. So just trying to see if I can come up with a refactoring to pull out some of this duplicate code. Because what I'd like to do is to do something like this. Process hard number. I can pass in die1, die2. And I suppose. Now let's look at what that might look like here. So process hard number. We said that'll take die1, die2, and number? Oh, go with that for the hard number, we'll say. Let's do a switch. Something like this here. Let's go back to the number. We'll add a switch. And var multiplier is equal to multiplier equal to 0. And so we have 4 and 10. We had said, I believe that gets paid out 7 to 1. 5 and 9 doesn't matter, and then 6 and 8, I believe it gets paid 9 to 1. And then we don't recognize the number, and so that's how we compute the payout. What else is next? If die1 is equal to die2, we have a winner, otherwise we have a loser, so let's just pull that over. Actually, before we get this far, we need to come up with die total. If die total is not equal to number, return. But if number does not equal die1 plus die2, return. So if we're passing a number other than what was rolled. Then we come up with a multiplier. So if die1 is equal to die2, then we have a winner. The multiplier is going to be the multiplier that we have computed. Else, we lose. We don't have die total, we have numbers. Let's go grab number. So a little bit lengthier than the logic we had down below, but this allows me to compress this all into a one-liner in the function down below. And it should make it a little bit easier to work with. Get rid of all of this junk here. I've got multiple ways to refer to the hard bets. Let's say, Water 7 calls all hard bets to lose. Process each individual hard bet. Iterate over hard bet's array, and this is 4, 6, 8, 10. I think that'll work. So for roll a 7, we lose everything. Let's see, let's try this. It's not strictly necessary to do this block in an else block, because if we do cause everything to lose, then there's going to be nothing to process, and it'll skip out on each individual one. But I think from just a visual perspective, it's nicer to see that, okay, we either do this or we do this. We don't have to analyze the logic to actually see that that is indeed true, even though, yes, it is true. And I can combine that. And does die total ever get used anywhere else? I don't think so, so I could just handle this as well. So I think we're good. Let's see if this gets called. Looks like it is not, so let's add in a new call for process hard bets. And this takes in what again? Looks like die 1 and die 2. So die 1 and die 2. Alright, let's give that a try. See if the payouts are correct for the different hard ways. And make sure I haven't screwed up any syntax or anything here. So let's start with a hard 4, I think. A hard 4 should pay out 7 to 1. So we'll start with that. So craps bet hard 4 for, we'll go with 10. Craps bounce. Make sure my balance looks correct here. 1474, 1464. Craps bets, make sure that the bet exists. And now let's test a winner for the hard 4. So craps roll 2, 2 should pay out 70. That's something may have broke. Let's take a look here. Alrighty, so we have line 4, 6, 7. Throw unrecognized number. Well, let's go look at 4, 6, 7 here. So I think the issue here is we're calling this for all of the points. Let's just look over again here. 4, 6, 8, 10. All right. Oh, the code I copied this from used a return statement, and so I didn't need to include a break. But here, I do need to use a break. So I think that's what's happening, is I'm not breaking out of these, and it's just always falling through to the default throw unrecognized number exception. So let's try that and see if this works any better. So try it again as before. Say craps bet hard 4 for 10. And craps roll 2, 2. And I won 70 for hitting that hard 4. There should be no more bets out there. I have no bets. Check my balance. 1544, so that is 70 more than where I started, and I have no available balance computation there, so that looks good. Now let's see what happens if I have a bet on the 4 and then I throw a soft 4. So craps bet hard 4 for 10. And craps roll 1, 3 to roll a soft 4. This should cause me to lose. I lost my $10. Let's double check and make sure that my bets don't exist. And my balance should be deducted by 10 units. 1, 5, 3, 4. Excellent. Now let's do a hard 4 and then roll a 7, and that should cause me to lose as well. So craps bet hard 4. Oops, need to specify an amount. Craps bet hard 4 for 10. And craps roll 3, 4. Actually, before I do this, let's do something that is something else. Let's roll a 6 and make sure that nothing happens to my hard 4, just to make sure that one of those basic cases works. Make sure I still have my hard 4 out there. Excellent. Make sure my balance is still correct. 1, 5, 3, 4 with an available balance of 1, 5, 2, 4. That looks correct. And now let's do a 7, and that should cause me to lose my $10. Excellent. Alright, so we've done the hard 4 and verified that that's paid 7 to 1. Let's do a hard 6 and verify that is paid 9 to 1. So craps bet hard 6 for 10, and this should pay me 90 back. So craps roll 3, 3. Excellent. Let's do the same test for hard 8. So craps bet hard 8 for 10. Craps roll 4, 4. I should get paid 90 for this. And finally, craps bet hard 10 for 10. And craps roll 5, 5. Alright, so let's check my balance. 1774. Make sure I have no outstanding bets. Let's just do a simple test. Let's place a hard bet on all of the hard ways and then roll a 7 and make sure that they all lose. Craps bet hard 4 for 10. 6 for 10. 8 for 10. And 10 for 10. Now let's check my balance, make sure that it's being deducted by, should be $40 at this point. 1774, 1734. Looks good. Now let's list my bets. That's not going to work as I've already requested that this roll, so let's do a simple roll, craps roll 1-1. Won't affect anything related to my hardways, or at least it shouldn't. And now let's check my bets again and see where they're at. So I have a hard 4 for 10, a hard 6 for 10, a hard 8 for 10, and a hard 10 for 10. Now let's roll a 7, and I shall lose 40 bucks. Alright, that all seems to be working. So let's go look at our player guide. I always like to keep my documentation updated as I add new bets. And let's just review where I put this in the code. For now, I'm going to keep the order of the code the same as the documentation. I may decide to revise that at some point. So we've got our hard bets at the very end for now. So let's go back to our documentation. It's a hard number. Hard way on the specified number. I think that works. Let's do a quick diff and see how things look from that end as well. Alright, so we've added the new hard bets sparse array. This is a little different than our other sparse arrays. Like our come bets have an array index on all of the points. The hard bets are a little bit different because they only have an index on 4, 6, 8, and 10. So we're going to see kind of new loops being introduced here. We've added this new getBet function to simplify the available balance calculations. It just allowed us to kind of squish together, make shorter lines for each of these lines, and it meant that in these kind of compound statements that we're able to compress all those down into a one-liner each. And plus that also made it so that we could do the hard way calculation on a one-liner. So, just this one little function, this getBet function, allowed us to simplify getAvailableBalance by quite a bit. Now here we have the bet handling logic. So a process hard number takes die 1, die 2, and a number. We skip over processing a number other than what was rolled. So if the number of processing is not equal to die 1 plus die 2, return. We compute the multiplier. 410 is a multiplier of 7, 68 is a multiplier of 9. And then if the two are equal, then you win, otherwise you lose. In process hard bets, we have the check for 7. If they're equal to 7, then everyone loses. Otherwise, we go call into process hard number and let that handle each individual hard way there. In our bet handling logic, we just call this new hard bets, process hard bets function we just built up. And actually, this is to see if the bets exist. So we have logic that keeps rolling as long as a bet exists. Since the hard ways are a multi-roll bet, we do want to keep rolling until those bets are resolved. What is this? This is, I think this is to display the bets. So we just make sure that we display the hard way bets. And that's been handled. I had a small, not really even refactoring, just kind of a formatting change here. I realized that a bunch of these lines were kind of small, and I could compress them all into one-liners, so I've done that. And then I added the bet handling for hard ways bets. We've called this new handle hard bet. We've refactored the number handling for some of these things. We've added a new getBet point that basically does everything that the getNumber used to do. We've now handled getHardPoint that calls getBet point and then checks to make sure that it's not a 5 or a 9. In all of our other functions, we now call getBetPoint as opposed to getBetNumber. And then handleHardBet, new function that basically handles hardway bets. And finally, we've added in documentation that talks about the hardway bet on the specified number. So I think that looks good. Let's come up with a commit message, add support for hardway bet. Alright, so this is a documentation change, so I'm going to go ahead and push this to GitHub right away so that we can review the documentation, make sure that shows up correctly. Here is my bet guide. And I refresh, and there it is. Hard number, hard way on the specified number. So that is in place. Let's go look at what we're doing next here. So we've added the hard ways. Up next we have a series of prop bets. We have any craps pays 7.5 to 1. We have any 7 pays 4 to 1, which is a terrible, terrible bet. That is a very common bet. Then we have the hard and easy hop bets. The reason why the any 7 is such a bad bet is because you can play the hop bets that are equivalent to an any 7 and the payout is quite a bit better. But many craps players do expect that any 7 bet to exist, so I will implement that, and I will implement it with the bad payout and expect that better craps players will know the more appropriate bet to make. And we have all of the hard hop bets, all the easy hop bets, fire, bottom top all, big 6-8, those are all kind of the bets that are remaining. Then we have some kind of more nicety features to add incremental balance adjustments so that if you lose all of your money, you don't get it all back at once, you get it back over time. Add a leaderboard so that people can see how well they're doing compared to others. Allow players to change existing bets, to increase, decrease, or remove bets. Right now, if you try to place a bet that already exists, it gives you an error. And you can't increase it, can't decrease it, can't remove it. We've talked about keeping place and buy bets around after they win. Allow players to serve as the bank, so that players are playing against each other rather than against the bot. Add the ability to turn bets on and off. The casino has will normally turn bets on and off based on various scenarios. For example, most casinos, when you're on the come out roll and you have a come bet with odds, they will turn your odds bets off. And so, but players would have the ability to turn those on or off at will, so I'd want the ability to turn those on and off, and then we can implement the automatic on and off feature the same way a casino would. And I think once we get through all of that, I think we're at a pretty good point for version 1. We'll probably we'll continue to test it and poke at it and see how well we do. But it feels like we're approaching version 1 pretty rapidly here, which is nice to see. For today, I am pretty much out of time. I need to go grab some lunch. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. We've had a pretty good block of work done today where we've adjusted how commissions work for buy and lay bets. They're charged only on a win. We clear out buy and lay bets on a win now, whereas before we did not. We've added support for the field bet, and we've added support for the hardway bet. And we've had some interesting refactoring to support the hardway bet. So a pretty good amount of work. I'm pretty happy with that. And the next block of work will be even more interesting, adding in more bets, particularly the hard and easy hop bets. Those will be interesting to implement. And so some interesting stuff to look forward to. My next stream will be next week, Sunday, March 31st at 9 a.m. Thank you for checking me out today, and I will see you next time.